Hello, welcome back to Petrol Blog's Rubbish YouTube channel. In this video we are going to talk about the Range Rover P38, but before I do I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who's been in touch since the Peugeot video. I've been inundated with emails, messages on Petrol Blog's Facebook account about the 406 Coupe and help and advice and offers for parts. It's been unbelievable actually, proper encouragement, a proper sort of boost and injection of motivation. So I won't go individual thank yous now because I'll save that for the next Peugeot update video, which will be coming very soon. But I just want to say a big thank you because I've been overwhelmed by the response. So thanks for that. This is a video update on the P38. Roughly 6 months now since it joined the fleet. And for anyone new to the channel, hello. This is not, well, this is part of the 15 car fleet, but it actually belongs to my 15-year-old son. He was 14 when he bought this. And to cut a very long story short, he was going to buy a Lego Technic Defender when we saw this. You can go back to the original video. I put some sort of update around about there. So I just wanted to give an update, partly because there's been a couple of people interested in how she's getting on. Some of the goats have got poorly legs. It's a sad sight. If you can help this stricken goat, please donate to Petroblog's coffers, and I'll be sure to treat him to a warm bath tonight. Anyway, digressing again. There's been people getting in touch for updates on the P38 Range Rover because, you know, putting money down on a P38 Range Rover at any price is like gambling your house savings or your life savings on red at a casino. You know, the chances are something's going to go wrong. It's just a matter of how bad and how expensive. So buying a spares or repair Range Rover it's a risky purchase. We bought this. It lives up to its sticker. We hope it lives up to its too good to scrap sticker. It advertises spares or repair locally, and my son, we had to give him a little bit of update because he had a little bit of help because he'd only saved up enough for a Lego Technic, so we added a bit extra on the basis that he gets it done himself. So we've had it around about 6 months, and touch wood, it's been brilliant. Touch wood, nothing has gone wrong. We discovered nothing new on the list of faults. Now obviously it's got faults. A spares or repair Range Rover is going to have faults. A brand new Range Rover is going to have faults. So if you're going to buy a Range Rover, buy as cheap as possible. Why spend 70, 80, 90, 100 grand on a Range Rover when you can spend £400 on one that does look like a London taxi, doesn't it, from the front, although less so without the ambers. And I have to say, my son and I disagreed about this when we bought it. I wanted to go back to original ambers, but it does look a lot better, doesn't it? You know, I know BMW had no say on the design of this or any input at all because they arrived too late to get involved with this car. But I'm sure they had an influence in terms of the sort of revised headlight design and the side light. It does look a lot better, doesn't it? The other thing you'll notice, quick fix, is putting a new set of plates on, which has improved the car no end. It did look ready for the scrapyard without its plates. It looks good in the front. I think the thing about the back is I always think of 10cc when I think about this, because it kind of hides a nasty stain that's lying there behind this oversized. We went for the oversized one for maximum brilliance. It's pretty grim behind here. Oh, by the way, I haven't got a man bun, Richard Lyle. It's actually a bobble hat. Yes, we went for the oversized one, and it's cleaned up the back end no end. It does look a lot tidier, and that was a quick win. That was probably the first thing we did on this car. My son is still keen to retain the patina, and I think still want to get this done and that done, but the patina we might leave on. Who knows? Not the priority right now, which I'll come on to in a minute. This was meant to be a driving impressions video of me touring the paddocks for 20 laps. 2 weeks ago I did 20 laps of the paddock, and I strapped a GoPro to the sunroof inside and my phone to the sun visor, and I was going to marry up the 2 bits of footage. It's just not working. It's going to take me a day to edit that down to something that's even remotely passable. And I know this channel's got a very low benchmark for quality, but I'm not going to spend a day editing something that's so bad. So I do need some input and help on what I should be using for what I should be using for in-car footage. Answer on the postcard to the normal address. This is the Rubbish YouTube channel, Dartmoor, England. So, what have we done? Okay, well, let's start at the back. Because there's a couple of quick wins we did on the back, which I have got some footage of this, so I will overlay it at some point. I mean, obviously, one of the joys of having a Range Rover is having a split tailgate, a proper split tailgate. So it creaks, as you'd expect. We'll come on to that in a minute. One of the things, both related actually, to the lower tailgate. So pull this down. So when we bought her, this was broken, and I think it was this side that was rotten. This has snapped. I think it was this side. Forgive me, and obviously I can check when I get back. But I think this has snapped. It rusted away. So we needed a new one of those. Quick win, put a new one on. So that now works a treat. It's now holding in place, which it wasn't before. The other thing we found with the tailgate is it wasn't latching in place. So you'd close it. Oh, there we go. It was doing that all the time. And it's still not perfect, but if you hold it here now, it now closes. So if you hold it at this side, it now closes, which it wasn't before under any circumstances. So what we did, we bought 2 second-hand units because it came as a pair. We only needed one. The spring had gone basically here. The spring on the latch had gone. So we bought 2 second-hand units, and actually one of the springs on the second-hand unit had gone already as well, so that didn't help. Fortunately, the other one was okay, so we put that on, and we actually just replaced this bit. So that's the original section. This is the new section, or second-hand section. So now the tailgate works. So it means we can sit here, look at my Safran, which will be a video soon, and watch polo, or watch the goats. Whatever's happening in the paddocks at any one day. Obviously, royal family might pop round, might join us. I wonder what Meghan Markle thinks of goats. I wonder if she's got an opinion on goats. Or Range Rovers for that matter. So that's 2 quick wins, and that's the kind of thing you do. I said to my son, you're going to have issues, you're going to have days when nothing goes right. So you look for quick wins. And we'll come on to that, the nothing goes right in a minute. If you get a couple of quick wins, now look, it shuts. There was much joy when we got that to shut for the first time. Come on! Yes, mate. Yes. Fixed. So what have we done? Tailgate, number plate, and a painted tow bar. Although it's been used since then, so the paint obviously has come off. I'm going to jump in because it's just about to do Dartmoor and rain. So let's jump into the palace of Range Rover. So there we go. It's nice in here, isn't it? That's the thing about the Range Rover, and I will say we've had it now 6 months. I don't know how many miles we've done because it's all been off-road. It's all been obviously here in the paddocks and up and down the tracks, and it's always started. First thing we did was put a £150, or I think it was £135 Bosch commercial spec battery on it, which has been brilliant. That was a big expense actually, we're talking more than a quarter of the value of the car on the battery alone, but we figured that actually it needs a big battery, it needs a good battery, so we invested heavily in a decent battery, and it's been superb. Obviously we've got a battery isolator on it, and I think that's needed because from what I remember, and any Range Rover experts will tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the air suspension will always try and self-level if it's parked for a period of time, so you can actually drain the battery. And I apologise if that's completely wrong, but that's what I heard. So please forgive me, or please correct me if I'm wrong on that. The door card is off for a very good reason. Actually, you can see one of the reasons why it's off there. So I'm going to get out again and get wet. In the name of YouTube, I'm getting really close to the microphone there, so if I sound really weird now, even weirder than usual, you'll know why. So the other thing we fixed, and I say fixed, we've not solved it, we have made it slightly better. This door we couldn't get into at all. There's no way in the world you get into this door. So, and I figured out that actually it makes sense to go to the back of the door card to find out what's wrong with it. Then I discovered, and again, you know, I'm not a Range Rover man. I'm learning my way with my son. I figured that actually that shouldn't be doing that. I figured that bit there should be pivoting outwards. So rather than coming out at one, that should be sort of pivoting like that. It's hard to see because my footage is awful. But as you can see, anyway. But it's not. It wasn't doing that. So I've been inside and I've slightly adjusted the inside catch. So now it opens. Now it's not perfect. But the fact is, I can now get into the passenger side, which is kind of useful. Kind of expect that. But I'm figuring actually it's probably worth to buy a new handle on that, because they've seen better days. That one's not too bad, and it actually obviously opens. But I guess replacing them with new ones would be a step upwards. But it's like the Paula Abdul rule of the Petrolblog YouTube channel. I don't know how many steps you take forward, you'll always take a few back. So stretching across here, I should have got in that side, why didn't I? You'll see that is broken. Yeah, joy. So now I have no in and door handle, so to get out now from this side, you've got to put your hands through the sound deadening and pull the catch. And the fact that this has been ripped and taped before suggests that someone else had that problem many times probably. So it's fine, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. You can see all that West Midlands workmanship, pre-BMW workmanship. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. So what else have we done? Oh, I'll tell you what, we're going to the bonnet. I'm going close to the microphone again. Hello. Right, going to get under the bonnet because there's a reason why the original spare wheel Steely is sat there. That's for my son to get to reach the back end of the bonnet. Although he's nearly as tall as me, he couldn't quite reach the back end of the rocker cover. We've done an oil change. Well, my son did a complete oil change and filter change, and it did make a huge difference. She's running smoother since then. She's a lot quieter since then, and dare I say, she's a little less smoky. Now she does smoke on startup. She's a 188,000 mile diesel Range Rover. Of course she's going to smoke on startup, but that's fine. But she's less smoky than she was. A job we were in the middle of doing last weekend was the rocker cover seal, actually, because we noticed that it was seeping oil through here. So we figured actually, by the way, I'm trying not to touch that because it's quite oily, and I've actually got a very dirty gimbal now, which isn't a euphemism. But we had the gimbal sat here, and then my oily hands, even in gloves, I got the oil on my gimbal. Don't recommend getting oil on your gimbal, kids. It takes a lot of time to get oil off your gimbal and your hands. So, quick win. We figured actually a quick job, for the sake of a tenner, we'd get the rocker cover done, and it was going really, really well actually. I've got this all on video. I might even overlay it. Everything was going really well actually. We'd taken everything off. The rocker cover sort of came out nice and easily. Then we got to the front, and there's an O-ring at the front here, and that had been, well, that wasn't quite actually. There's oil there. Look, that's interesting. You can see oil there. Can you see that? Interesting. There's an oil ring at the front here, and that was loose, and we were worried about that, and got in touch with club member and engineering supremo stroke legend Ralph Hosier, and asked him if he had any advice on what to do, whether it was a big job, whether it was a job that I should be tackling, and he came back yesterday with a step-by-step guide on how to do it. So Ralph Hosier, legend. You've elevated yourself to, we need tiers, don't we, of Club Petrolblog membership levels. You're elevated to El Presidente if you want it. But look, don't buy aftermarket rocker cover seals, because it doesn't even fit. It's too big. So we're going to have to swallow our pride and buy a more expensive, original, genuine part one. Lesson learnt. Should we start her up? As Mick Jagger famously sang. She does take a while to start. She drags, and I've heard that's again a common thing and nothing to worry about. And you do play warning light bingo when you start the Range Rover up. At the moment she's showing airbag sensor and what's the other one? ABS sensor. Oh, I'm not going to start her up. Of course I'm not going to start her up because the rocker cover's not on. That's just then you would have seen a boring man making a very stupid mistake live on YouTube. God blimey. I should edit this out, but I'm going to show you what an idiot I am by leaving it in. What else have we done? Well, mostly driving. And we've used it properly. We've used this Range Rover properly. I'm getting out again. I'm really close to the microphone again. Hello there. This car, as you can see from the back, has had much hay, many straw, big dirt, all in it. It's been used properly. It helped the farmer. When the farmer came to bale the hay, this Range Rover was on hand and it was stacked to the rafters with hay bales. They were hanging out the back. Even when the tailgate was dodgy, if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you. They were sitting on the edge like troopers. It was brilliant watching it. It was getting dark and the headlights were on and the Range Rover was doing its thing, and it felt like how Land Rover intended the Range Rover to be used properly. Because I think people forget nowadays, don't they, when they look at Range Rovers? They just see them as kind of luxury vehicles, and yes, they were known as kind of the upper market side of the 4x4 market, but they were meant for getting dirty during the day and then heading off to a dinner party in the evening. It was barber jackets and hunters in the daytime, bow ties and ball gowns in the evening, and that's what Range Rovers were about. And I think, and I could be wrong, and I'm happy to be proved, well, what should I say, I'm happy to be shouted at on the internet, but I think the P38 was the beginning of the end of when the Range Rovers could mix that kind of muddy fields and red carpet. Because the L322, and we'll come on to the L322 in a minute, I've got something to say about that as well, which is really uninteresting, but I'm going to say it anyway. It started to become, well, here's my gauge. This is my gauge for when Range Rovers changed their sort of image, if you like, or changed their character. Because Range Rover started off with sort of gun dogs, didn't they? Big dogs, big outdoor dogs, big proper sturdy dogs, working dogs, if you like. And as Range Rovers have got newer, or every subsequent generation of Range Rover, the dogs have got smaller. They become less working like and more lap dogs. And also, I think, the L322 is when they start to get Beckhamized. When they became Premier League. I don't associate the P38 with Range Rover, with Premier League. There are many things people associate the P38 with, but I don't associate it with the Premier League. Anyway, I digress. Oh yeah, back to the L322. This is the thing. I think the P38's time is coming. I'm going to sit on a wet Safran bonnet. She'll be having an update soon, by the way. There's things to update. Not all of it good. I think if you look at it, and this is only anecdotal evidence on social media chatter and kind of classic car magazines and just things you kind of pick up, but I think this is now, the time is now. I think the P38 is just becoming a classic. It's just becoming acceptable as a classic vehicle. Not quite, but getting there. And I think what's happening is, what you're going to see now is the P38 is going to do that in terms of the trajectory on the classic car market, and the L322 is going to do that. And I think they're right at the crossover now. Prices are very similar, and spares or repair Range Rover P38s, the spares versions, the spares examples like this one, are going to be stripped for spares, and then we'll see the point where spares or repair Range Rovers are repaired because there's money in them. They're becoming more desirable. There'll be fewer of them on the market because it's got the elements of the classic, but for a significantly cheaper price. 500 quid gets you a spares or repair one. £1,000 gets you an MOT one. It's time, chaps. Ladies and gentlemen, I said chaps because 1% of my YouTube subscribers are women. On Mother's Day, that's a pretty shocking stat, isn't it? Hello to all you mothers out there. Definitely digressing now. But no, this has been used properly. It's got muddy, it's been used day and night. We've had a massive trailer of rubble on the back when we had to fill in those gullies and potholes. And as you know from a previous video, it's been used to teach my son how to drive on the ice and snow. And that was probably the best day of 2020. Spending a couple of hours in the paddocks driving on ice. And yes, my other cars could have done it, but there was something quite majestic about doing it in a P38. So I think the thing to say now, I'm going to wrap up because it's boring. Most of my videos are boring. I'm going to go over here in the dry, past Claudia. Hello, Nicole. I'm going to go over here in the dry, and I'm going to say, because and I know actually a lot of people who subscribe to this channel are into the French stuff, and that's where my heart is. But this has wormed its way into my affection very early, and I think if you remember the video at the start of the year where I kind of did a 15-to-1 style rundown of cars in order of preference, this is in the top 5 or 6, I think. It does something none of the other cars on the fleet can do. It's a 4x4 from the 90s that still looks respectable today, still looks elegant. I don't even, elegant's probably a bad word. Classy, majestic, desirable. Look at it, look at it. Forget the flat tyres. Did I mention the flat tyres? Both front tyres are flat, and they last about 2 weeks before they're flat. So I'm thinking it's probably time to reseal the alloys, but it might go straight to proper job and just get all the wheels refurbished, because I love those wheels. I'm digressing. Yes, so this is the plan for the fleet moving forward. Priority at the moment is the 406 Coupe. Most of the updates are going to be the 406 Coupe alongside the Safran. Those are the two cars that are going to go on the road first. Well, they're going to be attempted to go on the road first, MOT'd. In parallel to that, my son will be working on a Range Rover with my help. So those are the 3 cars that are going to be MOT'd first, or at least sent to an MOT test station first. Alongside that, the black Safran will be the daily transport alongside the Camry. So they'll be improved and sort of nurtured and kept going. So they'll be the kind of, so there should be 5 cars on the market, on the road, 5 cars on the road by the summer. So yeah, the P38 has been brilliant. Absolutely love it. Go out and buy one. What's the worst that can happen? Thank you for watching. Stay safe.